There are many ways television can deal with the past. It can reconstruct it carefully, presenting history as a place to be visited and studied. It can reinterpret it through modern sensibilities, turning the past into commentary on the present. Or it can do something stranger. It can simply allow the past to continue. This is the unusual premise of the BBC series Adam Adamant Lives, first broadcast in 1966. When the series begins, Adam Adamant is not a man shaped by the modern world, quite the opposite. He belongs entirely to another age, a Victorian adventurer and gentleman crime fighter. Adamant operates in the closing years of the 19th century, moving through a London of gaslight, formal manners, and clearly defined codes of honour. His life ends abruptly in 1902 when he is captured by a criminal gang and frozen alive, preserved as a curiosity rather than executed outright. More than 60 years later, the frozen body is discovered and revived. Adam Adamant awakens not in the Edwardian world he once knew, but in the London of the 1960s, a city transformed almost beyond recognition. At first glance, the premise appears straightforward. The comedy of displacement seems inevitable. A Victorian gentleman confronted by modern fashions, modern attitudes, and modern technology offers obvious opportunities for humour. Yet Adam Adamant Lives is not really interested in dismantling its hero. The series does not treat Adamant primarily as a relic, nor as a museum piece. Instead, it allows him to continue the life he already understands, the pursuit of criminals, the defence of order, and the maintenance of a moral code that has survived intact from another century. In other words, Adam Adamant does not adapt to the modern world. The modern world adapts to him. This inversion is what gives the series its peculiar tone. Rather than presenting the past as obsolete, the programme often suggests that the present may be the unstable element. London in the 1960s is vibrant, colourful, and culturally dynamic, but it is also unpredictable. Social rules are shifting rapidly. Authority appears inconsistent. Crime has not disappeared, it has simply changed form. Against that background, Adamant's rigid Victorian certainty can seem strangely reassuring. He knows who he is, he knows what he stands for, and he knows exactly what to do with criminals. This clarity becomes the foundation of the programme's narrative structure. Each episode places Adamant in confrontation with a new threat emerging from the modern city. Gangs, conspiracies, eccentric villains, and criminal enterprises that belong unmistakably to the 20th century. Yet Adamant approaches these situations with the instincts of a 19th century adventurer. He does not attempt to understand the psychological motivations of criminals. He does not reflect on social causes. Instead, he treats crime as a problem to be confronted directly. That approach might appear simplistic, but the series rarely questions it. Instead, it allows Adamant's decisiveness to cut through the ambiguity of the modern world. The result is not satire, but a curious form of continuity. The values of the Victorian adventure story are simply carried forward into a new environment. This sense of continuity is reinforced by the character who becomes Adamant's guide to the 20th century, Georgina Jones. Georgina is everything Adam Adamant is not. She belongs fully to the 1960s, independent, energetic, fascinated by contemporary culture, and completely at ease in the modern city. Her clothes, her manner, and her enthusiasm place her firmly inside the cultural atmosphere of swinging London. Where Adamant is formal, Georgina is relaxed. Where he is reserved, she is expressive. Where he is cautious about modern life, she embraces it. Their partnership forms the emotional centre of the series. Georgina introduces Adamant to the world he now inhabits, explaining unfamiliar technologies, social customs, and modern attitudes. In return, Adamant offers something Georgina's world rarely provides, a clear sense of purpose. Together, they form a bridge between two centuries. But the series does not treat this relationship as a simple generational conflict. Georgina is not presented as superior to Adamant because she belongs to the present, nor is Adamant portrayed as inherently wiser because he belongs to the past. Instead, the two perspectives coexist. The program seems to recognize that both worlds possess qualities worth preserving. To understand why Adam Adamant Lives looks the way it does, it helps to consider the moment in which it was produced. The mid-1960s were a period of extraordinary transformation in British culture. London had become an international symbol of modernity, creativity, and youth culture. Fashion, music, and film were presenting Britain to the world as something vibrant and newly confident. Television could not ignore that atmosphere. Programs increasingly reflected the energy of the era, experimenting with contemporary settings, stylish visuals, and new forms of storytelling. Adventure series in particular began incorporating elements of modern culture into their design. Adam Adamant Lives sits directly inside this moment of experimentation. Visually, the program embraces the modern city. Nightclubs, fashionable interiors, contemporary music, and urban nightlife all appear regularly. The world Georgina inhabits feels unmistakably like the London of the 1960s. Yet the series never abandons the older traditions that shaped Adamant himself. His character belongs to a lineage that stretches back through the decades of British adventure fiction. Gentlemen detectives, fearless explorers, and amateur crime fighters had long occupied the centre of popular storytelling. Adam Adamant simply represents a particularly late example of that tradition. The difference is that his world has disappeared. Instead of presenting Victorian adventure stories directly, the programme places the Victorian adventurer into a contemporary environment. The past is not reconstructed, it is preserved inside a single character. That structural decision allows the series to explore the contrast between two historical moments without abandoning either one. Adamant's manners remain formal and old-fashioned. His language carries echoes of another era. He maintains a strict code of honour that seems almost theatrical against the backdrop of modern London. Yet the series does not mock him. On the contrary, Adamant's confidence often makes the modern world appear slightly uncertain. Criminals underestimate him, authorities struggle to understand him. Even Georgina occasionally finds herself surprised by the effectiveness of his methods. The implication is subtle but persistent. Perhaps the past was not entirely misguided. Of course, the series is not a historical argument. It does not seriously attempt to defend Victorian society or critique modern culture in a systematic way. Instead, it uses the tension between eras as a narrative engine. Every episode places Adamant in situations where his assumptions about honour, justice, and behaviour collide with the realities of the 20th century. Sometimes those collisions produce humour, sometimes they produce drama. Often, they simply reveal how differently two periods interpret the same ideas. This structural contrast is one reason the programme remains distinctive within the landscape of British television adventure. Many series of the era focused entirely on modern heroes operating in contemporary environments. Others recreated historical settings with careful attention to period detail. Adam Adamant Lives occupies an unusual middle ground. Its hero belongs to history, but its stories unfold in the present. The result is a programme that feels both traditional and experimental at the same time. Traditional because Adam Adamant himself embodies the values of an older storytelling tradition. His adventures follow familiar patterns, criminals to defeat, conspiracies to unravel, and justice to restore. Experimental because the world surrounding him refuses to remain stable. The cultural energy of the 1960s constantly intrudes into the narrative, producing moments that feel distinctly modern. This combination gives the series a slightly dreamlike quality. Adam Adamant moves through nightclubs, city streets, and fashionable apartments with the composure of a Victorian gentleman who has somehow wandered into the future. The city around him changes constantly, but he remains exactly the same. And that stability is the point. Television often relies on characters who evolve dramatically over time, learning new lessons or undergoing psychological transformation. Adam Adamant does not change in that way. He persists. The world may shift around him, but his identity remains intact. In this sense, Adam Adamant functions almost like a piece of folklore, like Robin Hood or Sherlock Holmes. He represents a role that can be placed into different settings without losing its core meaning. The gentleman adventurer continues, even when the world that produced him has vanished. Looking back today, Adam Adamant Lives can appear slightly eccentric, even within the already inventive television landscape of the 1960s. Its premise is undeniably strange, and its mixture of historical adventure with contemporary style produces a tone unlike most other programs of the era. Yet that strangeness is precisely what makes it memorable. Rather than choosing between past and present, the series allows both to exist simultaneously. The Victorian adventurer walks through the modern city, carrying with him a set of values that refuse to disappear. The result is not nostalgia, and it is not satire. It is something closer to continuity. The past does not vanish, it simply keeps going. And in the strange, energetic London of the 1960s, Adam Adamant finds the skills that he learned in another century may still have a place after all. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed that. I will be back with another television show on another day. Bye.